All right. I think we're in the building here. We're in the building. We'll wait a minute. See who pop in the room. It's been a minute. Take a little break. Ace, what's up? You always like one of the first ones in here. What's going on, man? How you been? How things? How things? I don't know if I did one of these since Thanksgiving. How was the holidays? All that good stuff. Yeah, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate you dropping on through. That's good. That's good. Same over here. The old lady's whole family was in town, so we hosted all of them. It was cool. First time we kind of had a house full of people since we moved in here, so that was cool. Yeah, still working out. Yeah, man. I did eat my fill. I stepped on the scale the other day. That number was bigger than any number I ever seen before. So I gotta start. I gotta start getting on it, man. Can't take that health for granted. You don't want to wait till something goes wrong before you start doing something about it. So I'm definitely well aware of that stuff. Yeah. I wish, huh? I wish. That would be the deal. Shoot. All right.
Here are my deals. Philips Hue Light
Ah,
Spirit Plus dimmable
look at that.
LED smart
Alexa,
light.
stop. I don't know why she talking over there. I just got one of these Echo Dots and put it in my office. She just started talking to me. I ain't even call her name. But anyway, one of the things I'm gonna learn how to do is how to program these things because you can write. I forget what they call them, but you can write. You can. What do they call? I forget what you call it. Where you can write code to make the Alexa do different things than what it'll do now. So I want to do some of those because there's things around the house that I wish it would do. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna figure out how to program it to do what I want it to do. And I believe you can release those programs so that they're out there for everybody to use once you write it. Caesar Lord, what's going on? Make humanity great again. What's going on? Yeah, for Amazon Alexa. That's what I'm talking about. Caesar got a question. I'm a junior in high school. I have a passion for computer science. What can I do now to show colleagues that I'm passionate about this? I can't get a job yet. Junior in high school, so you're about 16, 15, 16, somewhere like that, depending on where you're at. Man, there's a lot you can do to show colleagues that you're serious about it. I would start writing some projects, some small projects, and start pushing them up to places like GitHub, and that'll start showing people that you're serious about it. Or find an open source project and start contributing to it, even if it's just documentation in the beginning, correcting typos, doing anything like that. I mean, you can get started even if you don't know how to code yet. You can start browsing through GitHub repos and doing spelling corrections and documentation, and that starts showing you having contributions to other people's projects. So that's always a thing. Oh, colleges, not colleagues. All right, my bad. Hey, I appreciate you pointing that out, making humanity great again. So he did say, what can I do now to show colleges that I'm passionate about this? Yeah, if you start writing code and you have something to point to be like, I did this, go here, look at this thing, and that's me. That's all me. That definitely shows you have passion about it, because the vast majority of people that want to get into coding never take that first step and start writing code, and then after that step they don't start they don't push that code up for anybody to see. It lives on their laptop, on their computer, never to be seen by anybody but them. So if you write some code and push it up for the world to see, that's kind of step number one, I would say. Start writing some code. Okay, sorry, my old lady was texting me, so I wanted to check that, make sure it wasn't nothing super important, man. I got you. Just let you know I'm listening to you and typing the question that pop up in my head as I listen, so I get to it. Whether you can, just want to let you know I'm paying attention. Okay, I got you, Ace. Yeah, just put it. If anything pops in your head, just put it in there. I mean, that's why I jump on here, to interact with people. Making this website response. I want to make it perfect. Any advice? Don't get analysis paralysis when you're trying to make it perfect. I know. Get it good, especially if it's something that you want to get out there for people to take a look at. Get it up and going, and get it good, and get it up. Get the website up, get it deployed, and then you can go and keep making, iterative tweaks to it. So don't wait for it to be perfect before you publish your site or deploy your site. Get it close enough, and then get it out there. Yeah, I can check it out, Ace. If you send me the, you send me some kind of link to it or something like that where I can check it out, I'll take a look at it. Give you feedback on it if you want it, Make Humanity Great says he wouldn't even be interested in colleges. He hit up Udacity right away. I got you. I mean, I got my own opinions about that. I never try to discourage anybody from going to college, because I know, that's a thing. But if you were looking to get into the job force soon, depending on what your life circumstances and situations are, then I could definitely say that college is not a requirement in order to get into the industry. So I listen to a lot of podcasts. One of those podcasts is Coding Blocks, codingblocks.net. It's these three guys. They have a Slack room too, and I'm in their Slack room. I don't interact a lot in there, but I am in their Slack room. But I listen to their podcast, and they're good. I think they mostly come from Java, either Java or C# backgrounds. I mean, it's called codingblocks.net, so I think they come from .net backgrounds and Java background, kind of back-end guys. But it's three of them. They have really good chemistry together, and they do a poll every for every podcast that they do. And one of the polls was, you have 4. You know what? I'm gonna pull it up so I'm not guessing. Coding blocks, not net. There you go. Boom. But it was like you have 4 identical candidates for a job, and the only thing that was differentiating them was how they got into coding, pretty much what their background was. And it was surprising to see. I should have did this on my laptop so y'all could see what I'm seeing. But it was surprising. I'm not gonna be able to find it, of course, when I want it. Yeah. Anyway, one of them had a college degree. Another one went to like a 6-week boot camp. Another one I forget what the third one was, but the fourth one has contributed majorly to a very popular open source project. And the people that listened to the podcast and answered the poll, the largest percentage of answers of which one of those the people would hire was the person that had contributed significantly to a popular open source project. That would be the first person that they chose to hire, not the guy with the college degree, not the guy that went to the 6-week coding boot camp, but people value having done things. Like, you've actually got code out there in the wild that thousands or tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even millions of people are using on a day-to-day basis. That has way more weight than what college you went to, what degree you got, what coding boot camp you went to, if you were self-taught, what sites you used to learn on. All that stuff goes out the window if you've actually produced some code and have it out there and people are using it. Like that is weighted way higher than those other academia things. So just keep that in mind. That's just one poll, not to say that that's the gospel, but even me, when I answered that poll, I said the same thing. Oh, I'll take the guy that's significantly contributed to an open source project as the guy, because once you get into that open source ecosystem, you're contributing, and then people can file issues that they find with your program, and you have to go and acknowledge those bugs and fix those bugs. So it gets you into a whole mindset of not only developing an application, but going back and troubleshooting that application and fixing your code that was messed up. And it's this whole, ecosystem that you get involved in, more so than just, working on some college homework or, something like that. So keep that in mind. What sites should I use again to share code? Depends on what type of code it is. There's what is it? I always stuck in my head as JFPerf, and that's not even the thing. CodePen.io, if you just got like a small snippet of code or something like that, or JSBin or JSFiddle, any of those you can use to share code. If it's not a whole bunch of pages and stuff like that, Well, I guess now they've expanded to where they can do like multiple pages and all of that stuff. If it's code and it's not deployed, you can use a site like that. So CodePen.io or JSFiddle or what was the other one I said? I forget. But you can use any of those to share your code. Yeah. If you got GI Bill, man, then use that GI Bill. I went back to school just so I could use that GI Bill money, because you only get 10 years after you get out to use it. So if you don't use it, then you lose it. You lose the opportunity to use it. So I went to school for audio just to use my GI Bill. So yeah, I've got nothing against. That's why I'll never denounce college, because I went to college twice, actually way more than 2 times. I went right out of high school for management information systems, and they had 2 tracks with like you could have an emphasis within that program. One was networking and one was programming, and obviously I took the programming track. So I think I told that story. My first programming class was a Visual Basic class. So I was building forms in Visual Basic for Microsoft machines. All those menus and stuff like that you would see in old school, like Windows 95 and Windows ME menus. I learned how to build those with Visual Basic, and then on to like some old AS400 stuff, RPG, which is Report Program Generator, as a programming language you've never heard of, I can almost guarantee. And then like COBOL, and then I took C++, and that was the last programming class I took before I joined the Air Force. And then I wouldn't circle back around to programming for another 12 years before I got back into programming. So, and then while I was in the military, I did University of Maryland. If anybody has been in the military, University of Maryland is a college that you can find on almost any military installation. And they have And so a lot of military members that have gone to college have gone to University of Maryland. I went to University of Maryland while I was in Okinawa, Japan, and they're on all these bases all around the world. Um, so I did a bunch of classes with University of Maryland, and then when I got out here in Vegas, I took a bunch of CLEP stuff too. I was trying to get my what is it, CCAF, Community College of the Air Force degree, because at the time I was thinking I was staying in, and if you get your community college, your associates in that thing, it helps you for promotion later on, and then as you reach the upper ranks, they start looking for like bachelor's degrees or even master's degrees to reach those higher, as far as enlisted ranks go, at least. If you're an officer, you would have already had a bachelor, but that's all military stuff. While you're learning, did you ever think you'd be good enough to code confidently in a work environment? No. Hey, after this last week I had, last week, man, I just had I had a bad week. I had a bad work week, a bad coding week. I hit just problem after problem after problem, that definitely took me way back to like imposter syndrome again, Like, man, I just can't figure this stuff out. Like, I was hitting some crazy problems, and it got me to thinking as well. This is a tangent, of taking those problems that I ran into. What I really wish I could do is just share my screen and talk about the code that I was working on, and kind of do a screencast of it. But because it's not my company, not my code, I can't do that. It's for government stuff for one of them, and the other one is proprietary algorithm software. So I can't share either one of these companies' codes. The reason I haven't done it is it would require me to take the time out to rewrite the code in something generic, replace all the variable names and method names and all that stuff, and just narrow in on what the problem was, and then work through how I figured out the solution to it. But what that will require is a couple hours of me taking the time to do that, and we're working 2 jobs. Having a spare couple of hours just isn't a thing that I have anymore. So it's kind of a gift and a curse, because I get to see twice as much code as I would normally see working one job, but at the same time, I don't have enough time to share that with you guys, that could benefit from some of the things. But I do want to do that. That's actually something that's been weighing on me real heavy, is to share some stuff with you guys, just to walk through and kind of let you see what I do, a small piece of what I do on a daily, just so you have an idea. And I'm not just sitting here being a talking head, just talking, and you actually get to see the stuff that I'm doing and the problems that I'm solving, on a daily basis. So I might be able to. Well, this isn't really a hard problem, but I'm building some stuff out for one of the company now. But it's kind of basic HTML stuff. I'm setting up a kind of a card, I guess you can call it. There's going to be these different cards for search results. When search results come up, there'll be a bunch of cards with the search result information in it. So I'm building that right now, in Angular. But it's really kind of basic HTML and CSS stuff, the part that I'm at right now. So maybe I'll do something like that. And I don't think this contains any proprietary information, so I may be able to show something like that. But let me know if that's something y'all would even be interested in seeing and doing. I don't want to do it just because I want to do it if it's not going to provide any value to you. And thanks for the question, the Joneses. All right. Would you ever take a coding job in Japan if the money was right? That's from Oladimi. Appreciate the question. Not in my current situation, no. Single Brian, be gone. I'd be gone. I'd be gone in a heartbeat, boy, because I love me some Japan. You know, I lived over there for over 4 years, and I fell in love with the country, with the culture, with the people. It's a different vibe over there, and you know, especially down on the island of Okinawa, it was there's like no crime. You know, so you get used to stuff like that. We never lock the doors to the house. When you go out shopping somewhere, you go to a big mall, you just pull in and jump out your car. You ain't locking your car doors. None of that stuff. People will leave their windows down in their cars, like stuff you can't. I can't imagine doing that here in Vegas, you know, or anywhere in the states, to be honest. But there's just a level of trust and respect and honor that's built into or ingrained in that culture. Um, that doing things like stealing is really looked upon in a bad way. Like you could bring dishonor to your family's name, type things, where it's not looked at that in that way. Yeah, stealing is still a bad thing here, but over there, like you can dishonor your entire family by doing something like that. Whereas over here, you just got a bunch of thieves. You know what I'm saying? You leave your car window down if you want to. You're kind of inviting somebody to take your stuff over here. So it's a different vibe, and I love that kind of laid back vibe. Now, if they were doing something ridiculous like offering some money with some M's behind it, I might have to reconsider and even take the lady and the kids. But the reality is that probably ain't gonna happen from getting a job. Now, if I own my own company and I had a product or something that was out there that was generating that kind of money, then yeah, you can kind of go live wherever you want to live. What's going on, Matthew? Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. You still at work? I don't know where you working at. I'm on West Coast time, so most people ain't still working. Well, I guess it is still in the middle of the day, even West Coast time. I don't know what the time is. I got like my little setup. I will show you my office is a mess. I just got a new monitor in. I'll give you a little bit of. Let me see. I ain't got nothing proprietary on the screen. Change that chat. That thing. All right, cool. So my little setup, right? Laptop there, monitor, another laptop. So it's starting to look like a spaceship up in here, you know. I just got the second monitor in. I like these big old monitors. So they had a Black Friday sale. You know, I had to waste some money doing that stuff. That was very unwise, but I did it. So now I got a laptop and two monitors for one, and then a laptop and one monitor for the other place. And I plan on getting a second monitor. The whole goal for me is to be able to close these laptops and just use an external keyboard and trackpad for each one, and just use two monitors for each one. I keep the laptops open now because I use the monitor as a second monitor, but I prefer to have a lot of screen real estate to work with, and having a 15-inch screen doesn't work. It works, of course, if you got to do it. Some people work strictly off their laptops and don't even have external monitors. So I'm sitting over here crying about a MacBook Pro monitor. Some people don't even have a MacBook Pro. So I'm very aware of my first world problems. But boom, boom, boom. Trying to get your questions. Thanks for the great content. Hey, I appreciate that. The Joneses. What's going on, Faded? Would you work in the cannabis industry? I ain't got no problem working in the cannabis industry. Faded, I ain't all. I don't get all uptight about different stuff like that. I've been approached to work in some crazy industries, porn industry, all kinds of stuff, you know. So you just got to be able to separate. I mean, some people have their own moral standards. You know, I ain't got nothing against that. Depending on what the type of work is that you need to be doing, the stuff that was in the porn industry wouldn't have even exposed me to pornography. You know, it was more some back end stuff to get done with transactions and stuff like that. So I wouldn't have been nowhere around pornography. So I thought about it, but another gig another opportunity came across the table that was a better opportunity. So I took that and didn't get into it. But I don't get caught up in, what kind of things people approach me with. It's either yes or no. I'd be very much interested in something like that. Okay, you're talking about when I was talking about going through code and stuff like that. I'll see if I can get that set up. I know I've never done a live from my computer before. I always use my phone. And so I'll figure out how to do the live from the computer, because I think you need something else. You can't just hit go live like you can on your iPhone or whatever it is. So I'll figure out how to do that and how to share your screen while you're doing a live cast. All of that requires a little bit of technical setup, I know. So I just haven't done the research in what software people are using to make that happen. But I'll do that research and figure out how to make that happen, and then, we'll do something. It'll probably have to be some kind of series, because I think it would be too long to try to do something from start to finish. So it'll probably be broken up. Man, that's going to require some work, which means I have to sit down and plan it out. I'm just thinking through my head. I have to sit down and plan it out, the whole thing as a whole, and then see where I can chop it up and say, okay, part 1 we'll do this part 2, et cetera, until we get to an end product type thing. So probably something I'll sit down on the weekend, build something out, and then see where logical stopping points are to be able to live cache it, and then we'll redo it. I know that's how a lot of people do it. They want you to think that they just sit down and start flowing and stuff come up, but a lot of people will build the site first and then go back and redo it as kind of a teaching opportunity. So that's probably what I'll end up doing. Yeah. You appreciate those types of societies. Libya was the same before the bombing. Oh, that's crazy. You were in Libya? Or where are you at? Humanity? Are you in Africa right now? Or no? I'm getting Libya and Liberia confused in my head. But one of them has been in the news a lot lately, right? Where they were still selling people over there and stuff like that. That's probably not Libya. Maybe that's Liberia. Ask Leangelo and the Ball family. Ask them about what? That's crazy. Matthew's in the Bay. What's my opinion on Pluralsight? Pluralsight is good. I was just on Pluralsight the other day. Pluralsight is good if you want to go deep in a subject. I know they've been changing a lot lately, where they have those tracks and courses and stuff. Kind of similar to what attracted me to Treehouse when I started learning there. But I'd say back in the day, I would have said Pluralsight is good if you want to go deep in a subject, but it's not the place to go to if you don't know where to start at, because they weren't set up to teach you start at A and then B and then C and then D. They've been trying to change that lately. I haven't approached them from that standpoint. Whenever I went to okay, we'll talk about that in a second, Humanity. Whenever I approached them, it was always because I knew what I wanted to learn, and I went for a one-off course. Like, I've been getting interested in Jenkins, which is a CI, or I try not to use acronyms because when I didn't know, I hate it when people use acronyms. CI is continuous integration. So Jenkins is like a server that will automate a bunch of stuff for your project. So for example, in job number 1, when I do a pull request, right, to our repo, Jenkins has a GitHub pull request hook that listens to the repo, and whenever a pull request happen or code gets pushed to the repo, Jenkins grabs that code and takes it. It runs all the tests for that code to make sure all the tests pass. If all the tests pass, then it goes into its build phase. It creates a build of that code as well, and allows you to be able to um, push, and it'll take that code and deploy that code for you as well. So it'll automate all that stuff automatically. You have to take the time. It's written in Java. You have to take the time to program Jenkins to be able to do all of that stuff. And you get into DevOpsy stuff, setting different environment variables and all this stuff like that. So I wanted to learn Jenkins. I went to Pluralsight to learn Jenkins. They had a Jenkins course. I took that. It wasn't like I want to learn how to be a web developer. Where do I start? So I can't judge it from there for the Pluralsight. I know if you're starting from ground basics, as far as the web development space, I recommend places like Treehouse, of course, and then codeschool.com is another one. Man, I'm drawing a blank. I've spit these out. Go watch some of my older videos because I've made lists of the ones that I kind of recommend. Pluralsight I kind of view almost the same as like not you. I get Udacity and Udemy confused. Udemy as well. Udemy has a lot of great one-off courses, but they don't have tracks that's going to say if you want to be a web developer, start here and learn this and that and this and that and this and that, and build upon itself until you can actually like get a job and join the workforce. So I would recommend one of those two sites if you're starting from ground zero. Cool. Boom, boom. Thanks for answering my Japan question. Of course, man. If you ask a question, I'm gonna answer as long as it's like a serious thing. Ovo Cash in here, spamming, not trolling, but spamming, trying to get that. I wouldn't recommend you go and try to win any iPhones from anybody. Next thing you know, all your info will be all over the web. I was offered my first job in IT today, technical support, but I'm sure I'll move up from there. Yeah. A lot of times, Fader, you just got to get your foot in that IT door. So just don't get comfortable is what I say. You want to stay uncomfortable. I was thinking about. Never mind. I ain't gonna put that out there because I don't want nobody to take it and run. I'm gonna do that, but there's gonna be some stuff coming up from Black Knight Coding that's gonna have some stuff for you. So, but you wanna stay uncomfortable, man, because the trap is you get that job in IT, you get that tech support job, whether it's help desk, tech support, kind of same deal, and your coworkers are gonna be people that have settled, some of them at least, or over 50% of them, I can almost guarantee, are going to be people that have settled. Like that's what they wanted to do, and they're cool, and they punch their clock every day. They come in, they bring their little lunch and coffee, and they do their IT help support, help desk thing, and they punch out and they go home, and they're going to be doing that 5 years from now too. What you don't want to do is let those people influence you or slow you down from where you're trying to go. A lot of times people, when they see people come in and you're trying to make moves and stuff like that, they start feeling bad about themselves. Some people do feel bad about themselves because they don't have that drive and energy to do more, to want to be more. So you don't want to let that rub off on you and let that slow you down from making moves to what you want to do, because they feel bad about themselves and that they're not as motivated as you are to make moves. So use it as a stepping stone. Get in, make the connections with the right people. Use it as a stepping stone to get on to the next thing, and don't get settled, and don't let the people that aren't settled hold you back from getting to where you want to be. So I've dealt with that a lot in different jobs and stuff I've gone to, because I would try to talk to people. I was always reading a book. People used to always make fun of me because I always had a book, or I always had my laptop out and I'm learning and taking courses, and I'd be antisocial when it was lunchtime and all that stuff, because I'm more into where I'm going than wanting to hang out with y'all at work. Like, I low-key don't even like what I'm doing here at work. This is not my passion. So I'm not gonna sit here and kiki up with y'all when I'm trying to go somewhere. And that rubs people the wrong way sometimes. I don't rub that in people's face. I wouldn't rub that in people's faces and stuff and try to make them feel bad because they ain't making moves. But at the same time, I'm not gonna let pressure from them wanting me to hang out during lunch and all this stuff keep me from doing the things I need to do to move on. So I trust me, I know that struggle. When I worked down on the strip, a lot of people that was their thing. They had been down there forever. They was working at a hotel, and that was their. I won't say it was their end goal, but they weren't actively doing anything to get out of that situation. They became settled, and I was not. And I knew some people kind of felt the kind of way about that. I might have thought I felt like I was better than them or something like that, but I wasn't. I was really focused on what I was trying to do. So. And even now that I'm doing what I was studying to do when I was working at the hotel, I still am not settled. Like, I would talk to people at my old job about like investing in real estate and stuff like that, and they'd be like, man, they'd be kind of mind blown, and it's like, this is not the end goal. Programming is not the end goal for me. Like, y'all know my philosophy on it. Programming to me is a hustle. It's a hustle, man. It's a hustle that pays well, that allows me to transition to doing businesses that will allow me to get into the passive income world that I'm trying to get into. That's my end goal. I watched a video from a YouTube guy today called Will Motivation. He's this guy in Ohio, owns a company, HBCU, Historically Black Colleges and University. He owns an HBCU website called HBCU Connect. It's basically like Facebook for historically black colleges and universities. That has made him a lot of money. He took that money, parlayed it into real estate. Now he has over 20 rental properties that he has either flipped or is renting out for long-term cash flow. And that allowed him to start buying exotic cars. So he has a Lamborghini. He's got this, really nice Mustang. And he's had several cars that he's gone through. Audi RS3. He had a older Lamborghini Gallardo. He just leveled up to the Huracan. And he just got that thing wrapped and all this stuff. But half of his videos are about Lamborghinis and cars, and the other half's about business and making money. And he said something in one of his videos, him and his daughter. He picked his daughter up in this Lambo, and of course all the kids was going crazy and all this stuff. And she said, people were going crazy when you picked me up in the old Lambo, and now I'm sure they're gonna go crazy in this. And he said, just tell them you're not rich, And they both laughed, and she said, because we work and rich people don't work, and that's it. I want to get to the point where I ain't gotta work, so you can really enjoy life. A lot of people work their entire lives and then they die. I don't want to be one of those people. I don't want to work my entire life and then die. I want to get to where I don't have to work and money still comes in, and I can go and really enjoy life, explore the world, experience all different kinds of cultures, introduce my children to all different kinds of cultures and people and experiences, and really live life. So that's my end goal, and this is a stop along the way, So there's that. Sorry for that rant, but I'll put that there. Boom, boom. Oh, wow. Oh, okay, I'm gonna get caught up. Homepage is a random pic I found on Google. I couldn't load my picture at the moment. That's cool. It's just a placeholder. That's all good. They're both Africa. It says faded. Oh, Libya and Liberia. I got you. So don't judge that. Don't judge that. I guess you was trying to say. And you shared your code pin there. Oh, man. Shoot. Ace, I might have to. It's not gonna let me click on that. I want to save it. Ace, I might have to get that code pen from you after the fact. Or if you are you in the Slack channel, Ace? If you're not in the Slack channel, let me know, and I'll see if I can send you the Slack channel. Or you can email me too. BlackKnightCoding@gmail.com. Just shoot that to me and I'll take a look at it. It won't let me do it while I'm live streaming on the phone. If I was on the computer, I could probably click on it and save it, but I can't. Slave trade is going on in Libya. Yeah, okay. I thought that was the place, man. I saw them, selling people still, slave trade in Libya. So I thought so. Libya's in North Africa. It's where they're selling sub-Saharan Africans. I'm in the UK. I have friends who lived there but left when Obama and Clinton decided to wage war. I got you. And are selling. Yeah, I got you, man. The sad thing, one of the sad things about living here in America is that a lot of people are borderline clueless about the rest of the world, about things that are going on in the rest of the world, because we live in this bubble, being in the U.S., where depending on where you are in parts of the country, especially, you never even deal with people from other parts of the world. When I grew up in Mississippi, it was like 60% white, 40% or 39% black, and then 1% other. And I never grew up running into people that were from other parts of the world. I mean, I hate to make blanket statements, but I don't think traveled people make rural southern Mississippi a travel destination. So there are people in vast amounts of this country that have zero knowledge about the rest of the world and things that are going on in the rest of the world. It's sad to say, but it's so very true. You see these street reporters that will ask people geography questions like, can you point out, I saw one where they was like, can you show me Korea on the map? North Korea on the map. And they had no clue. They was pointing at China. They was pointing at Australia, the Philippines. They had no clue even where these places are in the world, let alone what's going on in these places and what it's like, to live in these places and stuff like that. So I always try to stay open to that stuff. I was watching a video just the other day about people that were running from genocide in certain African countries, and they were trying to make it, their whole goal was to make it to Europe, to make it to somewhere in Europe, and they were on the back of these pickup trucks driving through the middle of the desert because you couldn't take the streets because there were dangerous checkpoints where the people would kidnap the people and put the men into working slavery and take the women and rape the women and just all kinds of crazy. And that was reality, and I tried to even talk about it with my lady, and she didn't want nothing to do with it, to talk about it, and I just had to watch it for a while just to let it soak in that there are people in the world that don't have even the basics of life, and it all it does is it keeps perspective on my own life, and the things that I think are problems. When I think about other people in other places, I realize that my problems ain't even problem. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got to try to figure out what I'm gonna eat today. I don't have to go weeks or months without being able to bathe myself. I don't have to worry about my wife and kids being taken from me and raped, sometimes in front of me. It keeps my life in perspective. That's all I'm gonna say. So my problems are very much so first world problems, and so you really won't hear me on here whining or complaining about anything, because to me, I got it good. People tend to be agnostic, so those who engage in self-betterment as a lifestyle approach. Yeah, from when I was talking about, that's always been me, man. That's all. From the very first job I had, When I was 16 years old, I worked as a bag boy at Kroger's grocery store. I remember pushing that big, long, wide, mop broom thing that you sweep the aisles with. Go push it up and down, sweeping the aisles. I remember pushing that thing, and in my mind, then knowing that I'm not meant for mindless manual labor jobs in my life. Like, that drove me crazy doing that. And I knew that at 16 years old that I got to do whatever it takes for me to progress into doing things that I enjoy doing. And ever since then, it's always been like that, and you'll always run against those people that is their last stop, wherever they're at, and they look at you as trying to get out of that last stop. Even if you don't even say anything to them, they view that as you kind of having a problem with that last stop, and because they've chosen to make that their last stop, that you have a problem with them in a subconscious way, I think. So there can be some animosity there between you trying to better yourself and move out of the position that they're in. So I run up against that. I think about back home in Mississippi. It's a different world. I'm cool with that being a different world. People settle in Mississippi, in rural Mississippi especially, because there just aren't opportunities. You don't have the industries. There's not, if you want to, it's not the place to go if you want to make a career doing different things. Like, it's not a popping, happening, place like out here in Vegas. I tell them out here in Vegas, the only color that matters is green, baby. They all about the money and business and making things happen. It's kind of like what I would feel like New York, even though I've never been there, like what New York is like, or what like LA is like, or one of those type, happening places where things are moving and there's lots of opportunity to get in where you fit in, and make things happen. So when I go home, there's people that just work at the local corner store. They work at the local Walmart, the grocery store, maybe the factories. There's a couple factories. There's chicken poultries where they, big commercial chicken things where they catch the chickens and they kill them and they, put them on. That's how chicken ends up on your plate for dinner. Is these folks down here working in a chicken plant that's got a chicken head between each 5 fingers. They got 10 chickens that they holding, taking them. That's kind of the jobs that people do down there because that's all that's available. But when you never leave that bubble and cocoon, it's normal. And when somebody leaves out of that bubble and goes and does something else and they come back into that bubble, you get looked at like you're Mr. Big Shot, city boy, all of that stuff, type things, which is cool. I dig it. That's still my home, still my place, still where I love to go. So, Tyler, how do I get in contact with you? There's a Slack channel, Matthew. If you look on some of the old videos, go and look at some of the older videos that's on my channel. And there's the Slack group there. I got to start doing these on the computer because if I was on the computer, I could just take it and paste it into the chat. But I can't do that on my phone. At least I haven't discovered how to do that on my phone yet. That's probably the best way. I literally have it open all day long. And surprisingly, there's very little activity in there. Like, I have it open. I'm online all day long, but like nobody else is online. There's like 13, 14 people that's in there, but only very few of them will interact. And if you want to ask me questions or anything like that, you can have me all day long, even while I'm working. I see the notifications come in because they come in for my jobs. And if you write one, they'll come in for you too. That's the fastest and quickest way, is to go to those old videos and find that Slack channel invite and click on that and go through. Or you can email if you want to, blacknightcoding@gmail.com. It's all one word. There's no underscore or anything in it like that. It's just straight up blacknightcoding@gmail.com. Ace, I see you got a JS Fiddle too. Make sure to like the screen. Appreciate that. You never slack. I feel you. B-1 bombers on deck to hit North Korea. Do you think it'll go down? With North Korea, I don't know, man. I've been watching a lot of stuff about North Korea. I've been to Korea like 5 times. South Korea. When I was stationed down in Okinawa, we went up there a lot. I went up there on like even small 2-man missions and stuff like that, where it was just me and another guy. I went up there to do some stuff. And I've been up to the DMZ, to the demilitarized zone. I've gone in that building, those blue buildings that's right there on the border, where you can technically cross into North Korea on that side of the building if you cross over the line and stuff. I've done all of that in Korea, so I've been fascinated with North Korea for a long time. And I think about, it's weird, it's funny. I talked to my lady about crazy stuff. And I tell her, man, one of my biggest fears would have been, what if I was born in North Korea? Like those people, those kids that are born there, or teenagers that are there now, that's all they've ever known is that craziness. You know what I'm saying? Where you have to pray to this family like they're gods, and that's crazy. They're so brainwashed that my whole thing would be, even I think if you could reach down and pull Kim Jong-il, Jong-un, Kim Il, all of them. If you could pull all of them out and the regime and all of that, I think you may have a whole bunch of people that are messed up, man. Like mentally messed up. You got to think of you growing up as a kid and you're singing these songs that praise, and you've literally been brainwashed your entire life. Like you can't just flip that switch and turn it off. I'm talking about North Korea, Gabe. If you just jumped into the stream. So he asked if I think B-1 bombers, whatever, basically if we'd ever go to war with North Korea. So I don't know if that would ever go down, man, but I worry about it if it do. And then I worry, like, what is China going to do? They're kind of the only big backers that are behind North Korea, and what keeps people from going to really mess with North Korea, I think if China wasn't there, that it would have been gone down. So that's the big question. Like, okay, yeah, you can go overrun North Korea, fairly easily, I believe, with our military power, but what's China gonna do? You don't want to, you literally don't want to start another third world war. I do. My heart goes out to those people though, living in those conditions. And I wish that all the people around the world could live in conditions similar to, what we have here in the Western world, be it Canada or U.S. or any other, quote unquote, free nation. We all have our problems and issues, but there are definitely places that are way worse. So I wish we could all be on that same level and playing field, but 'tis not so. What's a great goal? I think one of the things Westerners suffer from is insulation from other cultures, and can give them perspective on themselves. So, yeah, man, it is. But Americans don't know unless they travel to other places, and a lot of people from where I'm from and grew up around, they don't travel. They don't leave outside the country. You know what I'm saying? I could bet you, I couldn't name you one person from my town that I grew up with that even has a passport in their possession, period, dot. Like, people don't travel. They stay localized where I'm from, down in the South. People stay localized, and that just becomes their world, man. Traveling to them is going to another state in the U.S. That's the big time trip and travel. Maybe doing a little cruise or something like that, but doing a cruise, you don't need a passport or nothing. They just take you to the port of another place that's fairly close to the U.S., the Bahamas or the Caribbean or somewhere like that, or down in some of the Mexican places, Ensenada and all that, places like that. But as far as going around the world to other places, a lot of Americans don't do that, man. So it is sad to say that it's hard to. It's easy to hate on other people when you don't have them in your life. You know what I'm saying? And so we talk about um, the Muslim ban and all that stuff, and you got people throwing hate and saying all this crazy stuff about uh, people that believe in Islam and all this stuff. And while uh, I'm not a religious guy. I don't subscribe to any major religion. Um, but I did grow up. I'm from the South. I grew up in the church, Baptist. All this. My mother made me go all the time, and all this stuff. Once she gave me the option not to go, I don't think I ever went back or anything like that. But when you know people that are Muslim, or you've been to a Muslim society um, that is like non-extremists and stuff, you have more compassion, you have more empathy, and you can relate. People here, it don't matter what it is. The whole gay rights thing. It's easy to throw hate at a gay person if you don't have a gay person in your life. If you don't even know a gay person, you don't have gay friends, you don't even know what these people like. They become the other. It was the same thing back in the day in the South when it was the black thing and all of that. It's easy to hate on black people. Insert any people that is not you or in your category. It's easy to hate on another person that you don't know or have in your life. The trans thing with the bathroom stuff. It's easy to hate on trans people when you don't know a trans people or have a trans person in your life. Then it makes those people become human to you, and it makes it much harder to throw hate or do things that would really affect those people when you know those people. So I think it would be good for more Americans to travel around the world and get to know other cultures and people and stuff like that, for that reason alone, because it'll improve their ignorance on world issues and stuff. Oh, man. Aren't we all brainwashed though? You know what? I won't disagree with what you said, Olamide. Aren't we all brainwashed though? To some level and extent, we are. We do get all brainwashed, because just like, I don't know. I don't want to go too deep and off in a tangent. I'll just say I'm not gonna jump and be like, no. We are all brainwashed to a point. Our TV and media is controlled by a fairly small conglomerate of people. So you really only get to see, to a limit, what a small group of people want you to see, as far as television and stuff that's pumped into the household. We grow up singing songs and anthems to our country to instill pride and loyalty to our country. So there's a certain level of those things. That's why people get all up in arms about the national anthem and all this stuff like that. And I'm a prior military member, proud Air Force member, proud to have served my country. So I get it, but I also don't get offended as easily as other people get offended about things of that sort of nature. So I won't disagree with you there. This has gotten way off of programming and stuff like that. But if you ask the questions, I'll talk about it and answer. Try that. North Koreans would want to F you up. They'd be screaming for you to give them their servitude back. Yeah, North Korea seems like a satellite state of China. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. I watched. That's crazy that you're talking about these things, because these are literally things that I've just been paying attention to and watching, on the news and YouTube and all this stuff, and I watch a lot of documentaries on North Korea and stuff. So that's funny that it came up in conversation. However, you can still be in county jail and still feel for someone born into a max security jail. Yeah. There's a relativity and nuance that we aren't going into obviously for yeah, yeah. I mean, there can always be somebody that's in a worse situation than you, even if you are in a bad situation. So I get what you're saying. Humanity. That's a good point. Gays converted to Islam a year ago. I feel you, my brother. I'm Christian, and I thanks that effed up how they did and try to do the Muslim people. Yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna go there. I'm gonna try to remain neutral. I have my own views on, you know, holier than thou Christians and Christianity, and growing up in the Bible Belt South and going to church, being forced to go to church up until the age of 16. And I don't just mean on Sunday. I mean Sunday, Wednesday was prayer meeting, and Thursday was usher meeting, and then revival on Saturday. I mean, I was in that world not by choice, because my parents made. So I don't know. As a parent, I made the decision to not indoctrinate my children in any religion. So they don't go to any church or religion. They have been, their mother grew up very religious, so we have taken them to church very infrequently throughout the years. They've probably been less than 10 times since they've been born, not the 10 million times that I went. And it would be for stuff like Easter and stuff, and they go to the little kids side and you know, do that stuff. But I made that choice as a parent. I want them to be able to make their own decisions as far as, you know, what religion, if they even want to be involved in a religion, and if they do, what religion they want to be involved with, and to have a vast and wide view of all the religions, you know, before you make your choice, to not get you know, kind of swindle into any one religion, and that's the only religion you know. And some leaders of religions tell you to put the blinders on, and it's a sin to even look at another religion and think about it because it's blasphemous. And that stuff I don't agree in. Like, you should be knowledgeable in a lot of different religions to have made an informed decision on what religion you want to follow. It shouldn't just be because that's what my mom did and my dad did, and maybe that's not right for you. So, but I've got, you know, I try to stay neutral as far as religious stuff, because they say don't talk about politics and religion, or you can get into some big fights. So, and I'm Mr. Easygoing. I'm Hakuna Matata. You know, no worries, man. I don't want no problems, and I could care less, you know, about people's choices in religion. To me, it's all about being a good person. At the end of the day, when you boil all the religions down, it's really about being a good person at the core root of things. However you come around to being a good person, it is up to you. But at the end of the day, just be a good person, and I think you'll be good to go. So, ask them to repeat it. It's Black Knight, not coder, coding, plural. CODING. Blacknight coding at gmail.com is what it is. Let me see if I can. I'll pull it up so you can see. Boom. Boom. All right, so I'm pulling it up. Oh, great. All right, it's coming up. Boom. Boom. All right. It's just 1K in there. I'm sorry. 1K. Here, let me show you. I can't find anywhere that shows my email. I'm in my Gmail, but all right, let me see if I can show you this. Can I flip the camera? I can. All right. See that? That's it. Just 1K. BLACKNIGHT CODING at gmail.com. So that is my email address. All right. Cool. All right, I got your email that you sent to please give feedback. Now that I've logged in, I can see it. So I got you, and I'll do that. You're laughing at my church life description. Very big of you to give your kids the freedom to form their own perspective on religion and spirituality. Yeah, that's just my thing. I don't want to jam any particular thing down their throats. And just because it's my beliefs and people, I don't know. People get into that. Now, where's the Slack room at? Let me see. I'll pull up the Slack room too, so you can see that. Some people get tied up and believe that you can't have morals. This was actually, I took a psychology class in college, and one of the questions, kind of debate questions, was, can you have morals without religion? So that was an interesting discussion. Of course, I took the road of no, you don't need religion to be a moral person, because people are kind of born with an innate sense of right and wrong and good and bad, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, you can kind of see, even from observation, if somebody does something that hurts another person, you take that in and you know that that's a bad thing. Like, that. You don't need a religious person to tell you that, or a religious book to tell you that. So, all right, here we go. And invite people. And boom. Just like copy. All right, copy that. Let me see. I'm trying to get you the Slack deal. And boom. Oh man, that's way long. Let me see if I can put that in Bitly and if it'll work. Bit URL shortener. Paste the link. Okay. This is still long, but this is the Slack invite. So I'll hold it here for a second so you can see. But it's bit.ly/2BLMBZT. And I think those capitalizations matter. So that M is a lowercase and that C is lowercase. But that is the invite that'll get you into the Slack channel. I hope that works. The real invite is this big long thing right here, but I put it in the Bitly and this is what it spit out. So it should turn into this whole blah, long join Slack thing. But I hope everybody that wanted that got that. So that's that. It's getting dark outside. Neighbors walking the dog. All right. What do you think about programming in cryptocurrency versus web development? You know what? I actually looked into this. Somebody had brought that up. VLS, welcome to the stream, by the way. I only looked into it as from the context of, is it Ethereum? There's Bitcoin, and then I think Ethereum is like the second most popular. And they have their, hey, Ace, I see, you hear that? Did you hear that notification go off? That was you. Just joined, and it sent me a thing and said, Ace just joined the Slack channel. I told you I have it up all day, so if anybody posts in there or anything like that, I get the notification. So what was I talking about? Oh, Ethereum. So they have their own language called Solidity, I believe. Let me go. Solidity. Is that what it is? Yeah, Ethereum smart contracts. So you can program smart contracts. It's It's Solidity. I see you looking at the old picture, man. That's an old picture of me and my G ride with my shades on, with my Lokes on from back in the day. That's like 15. That's more than 15 years old. Um, Introduction is smart. So Solidity is the programming language for Ethereum, where you can write smart contracts. And I had to educate myself on this. Like, what is a smart contract? How does all this thing work? So be careful. They'll take you down a whole rabbit hole of blockchain stuff and cryptocurrency stuff, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, but it's interesting stuff. And I think I don't know if the cryptocurrency side of things will be huge, but I do believe the blockchain is going to be a transformative technology. And being able to have a distributed data system so that you aren't, people like it for different reasons where you're not sending all of your data up into the cloud to Google and Facebook and et cetera, et cetera. Really, Google and Amazon with Amazon Web Services. So many people use those that all of those two companies kind of dominate the data storage space, so if you distribute your data, then no one person owns the data, and no one person can stop it. So that's kind of what's behind Bitcoin and Ethereum and Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin and Magicoin and Dogecoin and all this other stuff. That's kind of why people can't stop it, is because no one person owns the code or owns the data and the transactions. So it's kind of out there in the wild. So you can do that with all kinds of stuff. I've seen companies in the healthcare space, all kinds of different companies that could utilize blockchain technology. So I would not dissuade you from learning about smart contracts and learning the program for cryptocurrency. I don't think that would be a bad thing. So, all right. If you were just starting out in the beginning and you had 4 years to not need any income, okay. Would you go to school, learn coding, then work, or start your own freelance business? If I only had 4 years, I'd be freelancing my butt off. Because you got to think about it. If you go to school, there's your 4 years right there. You're just getting out of school when 4 years is up. So you can't go to school and if you're going to college to get a 4 years bachelor's degree, it's just not going to happen. Or even if you're, super accelerated and do it in 3 years, you only got a year left. At the very most, I'd do like a boot camp or something and then hit the ground running after that. And it will really be freelance. Starting freelance is like an airplane, though. It stays on the runway for a long time, and then it takes off, and starts going up. So the key thing when you start a freelance business is to not need money immediately. If you need money immediately, that's where jobs come in. You grab a job, and within 3 weeks, you got a paycheck and you got money in your pocket. You start freelancing, it might be 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, a year before you start making enough money to sustain yourself. And you kind of need a little bit of money in the beginning to market yourself to different people, to get your name out there, to even start making money. So you got to be aware of that. A lot of people will start off with a job, be smart, use that money, stack it, and then use those funds to bootstrap their freelance business. So that's what I would do if I only had 4 years to. But 4 years to not need any income is different from 4 years to being well off. I believe anybody can go from ground zero to 6 figures being a programmer within 4 years. So you can be making 6-figure money within 4 years easy. As long as, now you can choose to go to your first job and stay in that first job for 4 years and you won't be making 6 figures. Because if they hire you at 50, or some places hire as low as like 30,000 or something crazy, even with their pay raises, it's going to be hard pressed to get you from, unless you're changing positions within the company, but just staying a developer and not progressing into like leads and management level stuff. You'll be hard pressed to be a developer making six figures without doing some job changing or position changing within a company. So you can do 4 years to six figures easy, but it's going to require work on your end and being smart with how you navigate your career. So that is something that I will say. There are always exceptions. There are rare exceptions. There are companies that will pay $90,000, $80,000 right out of college and stuff, and even close to $100,000 if you want to go work in the Bay for Facebook or Google or something like that. Yes, you can get a job, that's making a lot of money fresh out, but I'm talking about the average and the norm. You can be 4 years in six figures. So what's your opinion on Sharia law taking over the U.S. one day? That's not going to happen, man. That's not going to happen. It's too many hillbilly rednecks that believe in America to ever let anything like that happen. So I have very little fear of that. Ace the game. Yeah. Cool. I'm sorry. I'm going back, trying to catch up. I'm going to keep it real on the flag issue. When I fought for my country, I fought for all the people in the U.S., not an object of flag. Yeah, that's true, man. You do. You fight for the people, man, not some ideology of the country. I never felt that, big pull for America. No, it's really it's the people. The people make up the country, not the other way around. So, awesome. Thanks to many. Yep. Cool. Looking after this, that's cool. Starting off, that's cool. China's banned Christianity. The PRC announced Jesus not your savior in the state media just this week. Yeah, I can believe that with China. China's a weird country where there's some openness and progressiveness about stuff, and then there's the opposite end as well, where it's very regressive and oppressive about other things. So it's kind of a country like kind of in limbo, I guess. Oh, appreciate you posting that, Humanity. The import for the Slack thing. Ethereum. Yeah. How do you spell the language for Ethereum? Solidity. SOLIDITY. So it's a D in the middle. So solidity. I want to start mining Ethereum while it's still low. I looked into all of that, Tez, getting into mining and stuff and worrying about. Actually, there's two little. Here, let me see if I can switch this. I got two little. Those little lights. Those are two little Raspberry Pis that's hooked into my router right there, and you can see them, working away. They're mining some little like Magicorn or something like that. You can't use Raspberry Pis to mine the real stuff. Bitcoin, Ethereum, they aren't made to even be mined on CPUs. You got to have either an ASIC machine, which is application specific integrated circuit, ASIC. Yeah, is what ASIC machines stand for. They're basically little boxes that have fans on them that are so loud they sound like a jet about to take off. Sorry, my son's texting me. I was done, but she didn't reply. I don't know if she's here or from there. All right. Oh man. Just a second. Okay. All right. My son's at tutoring, and his mother is not there to pick him up. Okay. Hopefully that's taken care of. We'll see. I hope they work it out. So Solidity is the language for that. It says this Solidity is a contract-oriented high-level language for implementing smart contracts. It was influenced by C++, Python, and JavaScript, and is designed to target the Ethereum virtual machine, or the EVM. So that's a little blurb on Solidity. So there we go. I'll send you a link in a bit. You can build rigs with the lowest i3 CPU and like 8 AMD. Yeah, you got to have the GPUs to get it done. There are some coins that are made specifically not to be mined with GPUs and to be mined on CPUs only. But the big ones that you hear about are not like that. Like Ethereum and Bitcoin and all of that require like GPU. Excuse me. GPU level stuff. ASICs are mainly used for Bitcoin, but Ethereum is application specific. That's why the prices of computer GPUs went way up and are slowly declining because you can build rigs with as low as an 8 AMD plus. Okay, I'll check that out, man. I'll check that out, Tez, about the mining stuff. Oh, VLS. When you got hired, did you know DOM manipulation and basic JavaScript iterations? I know you said your first programming job trained you, but was wondering how much JavaScript you knew before that. I knew very little JavaScript. I can say that now. I knew very little JavaScript. Not enough JavaScript to get hired. So whatever amount of JavaScript you know right now is probably the same amount of JavaScript that I knew if you're starting out and beginning. I didn't even know everything that JavaScript could do at the time I got hired. You know, what it was really used for on the front end and how it played into things. So I was as fresh a fish as there can get. So, you know, don't feel like you can't get in there and learn. I recommend both of you read General Smedley Butler's War is a Racket. He's a Marine Corps Major General, known as U.S. most decorated Marine at the time of his death. Okay, I'm cool into that. I'm a big military buff, so I like watching stuff and reading stuff about that. I'm just gonna type it in so I won't forget it. General Smedley. Yeah, there we go. It auto-populated, so he was pretty popular. Okay. I got it up. War is a Racket. I see the book and everything like that. So I'll check it out after this. Especially even if they have an audiobook on Audible, because I like to listen to audiobooks. So you can play poker for Bitcoin online and it's legal. Oh, yeah, you're right. Well, I don't know. I haven't looked into it lately as far as playing Bitcoin online or playing poker online for Bitcoin and it being legal. I'll admit it. There, you know, I come from that poker background, man. I played poker professionally. I'll playing poker professionally mean is that was your only source of income. So I played poker professionally for a year while I was in college going for audio. And I played a lot down on the Strip at the Aria Hotel and Casino and at between Aria and Bellagio, but I spent most of my time at the Aria and playing on the weekends when there was a bunch of drunk tourists there that was there just to have fun and they could drop $200 or $300 and it's not a big deal to them, but for me picking up $200 or $300 in a day or a night was a big deal back then because I was a broke college student. So I did that for a while. I loved poker. I played poker. I was playing poker when Black Friday happened. If you're not a poker player, you don't know what that means. But yeah, I was playing online, you know, Poker Stars and Full Tip Poker, as unbelievable as that is now. So I love poker, man. I haven't played now in years, but if anybody sit down with some poker chips and cards, I got poker chips and cards out in the garage right now. But nobody in this house plays poker but me, so I don't get to bust it out and play poker. Uh, but back in the day, there was a site. Oh man, what was it called? It was on the tip of my tongue, but there was a site that you could play poker on for Bitcoin and win Bitcoins. It was sealed, something seal. And I'm not saying CO. I'm saying seal like SEAL seal. Back in the day, was a poker site you could play on for Bitcoins when Bitcoins were nothing. Like they were a joke. It was almost like playing with fake money because Bitcoins cost so little. And people would. I remember a guy paid for a pizza. He paid for a pizza with like, I don't know, 10 Bitcoins or 100 Bitcoin or something crazy Bitcoins, which would have been like millions of dollars he paid for this pizza in today's value of Bitcoin. But back then, Bitcoin was worth nothing, you know? So I'm like, man, you can only imagine if I had been up to that site, been hip to that site back in that day, and would have racked up an account that had a bunch of Bitcoins in it that today are worth 10 grand a pop. And I had thousands of them. like that's nuts, man. That's absolutely nuts. So, Kamar, hello. Welcome to the stream. I'm probably gonna end up wrapping this up pretty soon. You came a little bit late. Might have to catch this on the refeed, but I don't know if I'll keep this up or publish this stream. I know we talked about some controversial stuff with different country stuff and politics and religion. I don't want to post nothing up on the channel to get people all fired up and stuff like that. But we'll see. Maybe I will keep it up. Maybe I won't. Yeah, like A said, if you want to talk to me, add me on Slack. Make Humanity Great Again posted if you look back in the chat, he posted the bit.ly link for the Slack channel, so you can join in on the Slack channel there. And if you join in, you ever have any questions on anything, just write it in the channel. Even if you don't have questions, you just want to say hi or whatever, I would love it. There's a couple different programming YouTubers, or programming podcasters that have Slack channels, and they've built a really great I see you, Ace. They built a really great community in the Slack channel, where they have discussions all day long, and it becomes like a little fam. So I would love for the Slack channel to turn into something like that, to where I don't even have to be in the room for conversations to be going on and questions to be asked and stuff like that, and other people can jump in and answer questions and have dialogue and conversation throughout the day. So I would love for it to be a place like that. So, and I'll jump in there and get in conversations as well. So, cool. And hey, there you go. Question for you, Olamati, Olamati. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it or not. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it, but Make Humanity got questions for you. Yep. Support, motivate, help each other with code. All right, y'all. I'm gonna get back to work. It felt good though, getting in. There was some great conversations that happened on the stream this time, so that makes me feel bad for waiting so long in between streaming. I'll try not to wait. I got to get on some kind of schedule, man, where I do these so that y'all can expect for them to be on a certain day at a certain time or something like that, or to release a video at a certain day or a certain time. So I'll do that. Check my site first, please. Oh, you want me to look at it while I'm on the stream, Ace? Let me see. Let me get in here and see. Boom. Oh, you emailed it to me. Let me check out the email. Boom. All right. So we pulling up. All right. I see your background with code there. About me. Culinary. You want me to show it on the stream, Ace? I like that. You got a blog about you, your expertise, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, your projects. Got to fill your projects up, Ace. I know that's coming though. Would you like to work together? Hey, I like that, man. Have you? Is this like your first attempt at a site? Like, have you? Here, let me show the people, man. I don't know if you don't be shy, don't be shamed for the people. So, yeah. So this is JS Fiddle, a site where you can post code. Like up here, there's HTML. This is JavaScript down here in this section. Up here is CSS. You can see over here in the corner. I don't know where my finger's at. CSS is over here. And then down here, it spits out your results. So you can see what the results are. So as you make changes to your CSS or your JavaScript or HTML, you can see the changes to it here. So this is Ace's deal. He got the background splash screen going on there with the About Me blurb. Talking about himself there. His expertise. Oh, look at that. Getting all fancy with some wiggle there. HTML, CSS, CSS3 and JavaScript. A project section that he's gonna fill up with some projects. And then, would you like to work together? I was accepting new projects. Like to hear about yours. Take a few minutes. Email me. Boom, boom, boom. Does the link work? Let's get started. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Popped open a email over there. So the email is working. All right, I got you. Tube socks. Make it full screen. It looks different. All right, I got you. Let me see. Oh, okay, I see your navigation over there on the side. Trying to stretch it out. Trying to hold this phone and do it at the same time. Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah, the picture. I see what you're doing. You getting your responsive stuff going on. Because the picture didn't show up when it was in that small format. I dig it. That was good responsiveness though, because when you shrunk it down, these guys go like that and it's still readable. So you can read that on the phone pretty easily. You got rid of the picture when it's on the small format. That's smart. Yeah, I dig that, man. I dig that. I would make this smaller. And then I think your navigation over here is broken. There we go. It lit up there. Yeah, you gotta hover over it. Is that the way it's meant to be? I just tweaked the navigation, Ace. I dig that it comes in like that, but it's hard. I didn't like on this background. I would switch out the background definitely because on this background, I didn't even notice that these were. I didn't even see this the first time I came up because the writing's in red and it's on this background with all these multicolors, so you can't see it. And then the effect there is cool, but I would speed it up. Definitely, and I would probably do a different layout than the up and down, maybe across the top. Maybe across the top of here. Or even have the picture be a background with a mask over it that's really that's muted out, so it's not just a plain picture. And then put your links on top of that. Have it smaller, maybe something like that. Maybe something like that big. And have a mask over this where you can still see the navigation options laid out. Boom. And it would jump you to the different sections. That's just one idea, but you can have it all kinds of ways. You can do hamburger menu if you want to get fancy and have a slide out menu and all kinds of crazy stuff, but that's cool. On your home server, my JavaScript not even showing. Oh, okay, that's cool. All right. I dig it. Though. Hey, so if that was I didn't see your answer to was that your first site or not? But if that's your first site or anywhere close to your first site, That's good, dude. That's good. That's better than first attempts I made at anything. So, okay, do you have an online presence? HTML. Yeah, that means his HTML skills are shaky. That's crazy. All right, I'm gonna jump off of here, y'all. My stepson is still waiting on his ride from his mom, and she hasn't responded back to me or him, so I'm starting to worry about that. So I'm gonna go check on this and see what's going on with my lady and my daughter. And other than that, I'll talk to y'all later, man. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate y'all spending a little time with me, and we'll do this again soon. Peace.